So I want to talk about selling crochet patterns in the modern day of AI. Now, this is something that is rough because right now, one of the biggest opportunities that you have to sell your patterns online is Etsy. Etsy has been a very popular platform for many, many, many years. There are tons of people who shop on it. I remember back in the day, it was the place to go if I wanted to buy a handmade product. But over the last couple of years, it has gotten worse. There are a lot of people who scam on Etsy. There are a lot of non-small businesses on Etsy trying to masquerade as a small business. There are a lot of people on Etsy who are stealing designs of other creators and trying to pull them off as their own. And especially now in the age of AI, there are pretty much 6 billion, that's an exaggeration, but it feels like that many, AI pattern designers on Etsy who aren't real, making patterns through AI, generating their images through AI, and selling them at a cheap price so that they can get people to buy them, and essentially scamming people with AI patterns. So selling your crochet patterns on Etsy in the modern day of AI is kind of bleak right now because your competition is AI patterns that are only like $1 to $2 that people can't tell if they're a real pattern or not. I'm currently working with a bunch of pattern designers in a group coaching program right now, and one of the things that we're talking about is Etsy. It is a place that you can be as a pattern designer as a way to further your reach, show up in Etsy SEO and all of that. But every time I go to look on Etsy, it is just AI patterns, and everyone in the group is always like, oh, this again, like why is Etsy this way? So, it is rough out there, especially as a pattern designer, with Etsy being one of the easier ways to get started with selling your patterns. So where do you sell your patterns instead of Etsy? Well, great news is there is another option out there. It is called Ravelry. So let me give a quick introduction of like what Ravelry is for the people who are not familiar. Ravelry is an awesome website that is run by a small group of people that is dedicated to just selling crochet and knit patterns. There are technically a couple of other different pattern niches on there as well, but they're not nearly as popular. It is built for crochet and knit. And instead of, Etsy, where you can sell physical products, you can sell handmade products, technically non-handmade products, and even digital products that are built for other people to sell digital products, Ravelry is only built for patterns. It is only built for crochet and knit patterns. That is the only thing you can sell on there. Again, technically there's some other people who are trying to sell like macrame patterns because it can be called crochet, but the majority is crochet and knit. So it is like super focused in, laser focused in. It has some really awesome systems, like the fact that you can actually save your patterns into like a library within Ravelry. So you don't have to keep like your own digital library. You actually have one within the website. You can follow designers. And a great thing that Ravelry does as a website for pattern sellers themselves is they do not have nearly the amount of fees that Etsy does. So Etsy has like, listing fees, transactional fees, credit card fees, processing fees, all of the fees ever. So you have to make sure to price even your digital product at a price to cover those fees. Meanwhile, Ravelry, I believe, only has a transactional fee. Outside of that, they don't charge you to list, and unless you are a pattern designer with a lot of patterns and making a lot of sales on Ravelry, they do not charge you to list your patterns on the website itself. So it actually is more beginner friendly than Etsy, and with the current day of AI as well, Etsy even charges you a $30 fee to even start selling on Etsy, trying to verify you as a seller, even though there are plenty of AI accounts still going through anyway because they can spare the $30 because they're probably going to make it back through their AI pattern scams. So Ravelry doesn't have that fee. And one of the great things as well is that Ravelry actually checks for AI on your patterns. They do check your listings to see if they can spot AI in the photo, in the listing, in the title, and even in multiple of your photos. So it's not just looking at the cover photo, then you can hide things throughout to the rest of the photos, but they actually check these things for AI. I'm not 100% confident on this right now, but they may actually check your pattern itself. Now, this is fantastic because they don't want AI patterns to be on their website. We see what has happened with Etsy, where it has become a slop fest. Pretty much anyone looking at Etsy is like, okay, man, AI patterns. Now I actually have to think if I am getting scammed by an AI account or if I'm actually buying a real pattern. Instead, Ravelry is going through and actually checking to make sure that people don't have to do the work themselves and making sure that there are real designers on there. So I absolutely love that. Now, I'm not saying that there are absolutely zero AI patterns on Ravelry, because things can still sneak through, and I believe that the AI checking is still in a new phase. But they're at least putting in the effort to check if the patterns are AI or not. Actually building a quality platform for you to list your patterns on. So I love, love, love Ravelry as a pattern selling platform compared to Etsy. Now, I won't say to never be on Etsy, because there are benefits, as Etsy does have its own SEO. It is a very popular platform and there are a lot of buyers looking for patterns. But if you are going to pick between a platform to really spend your time growing on, I will 100% recommend Ravelry over Etsy every single time, because it's just a more trusted platform. It has a higher quality of life for the actual pattern designers themselves, from the actual listing factor, from the fact that it looks for AI, the fact that it doesn't charge you 6 million fees, and also from the fact that if you ever update your pattern after you release it on Ravelry, you can go through and update the pattern itself on the listing, and it will send out updates to your actual customers, versus Etsy, you update the pattern and there is no way to tell the past people who bought your pattern that there is a new update available. So Ravelry actually is looking out for the buyers as well, and it's built for buyers. It has that library that people can put their listings on. It has all of these resources for people and even community sections. So there's a lot of benefits to Ravelry, and I think that it is a platform that you should be on if you are a crochet designer selling your patterns. You should be on Ravelry. I've even seen recently in crochet groups that people say that they don't buy from designers who aren't on Ravelry and have established Ravelry profiles, because if they're on Ravelry, they seem like a real designer versus just being on Etsy. And if they are on Etsy, they're looking for very strict requirements to feel like you are an actual trusted designer, like a 5-star rating with at least 100 reviews to get a 5-star rating. And most of those ratings also have to meet certain requirements. I've seen people say that if they see most of the ratings on a pattern listing say that they haven't made the item yet, they don't actually think that's a real listing, and they won't actually buy that listing because people haven't said they made it. They want to see real photos of people who have actually made the designs. They want to see people who have comments and reviews around what they made and their experience with the pattern. And they're also looking at how long you've been on there. They're looking for all of these different requirements because they're looking to actually trust a person on Etsy. While simply being on Ravelry as a designer will boost your trust up like 50% to 100% with people, because that's the platform that actual designers are actually on. So if you are a crochet designer and you are not on Ravelry right now, please, please, please go sign up for Ravelry and create a seller profile and list your patterns on there. That will boost your credibility as a designer. Plus, Ravelry has its own SEO. You can be found there. It's a great platform to be on. And this video is by no means sponsored by Ravelry. This is just my opinion of the platform as I have been learning about it, as I have been helping pattern designers sell more of their patterns. So this is just what I have learned. These are the benefits I see of Ravelry as a platform. And honestly, as someone who does other crafts like sewing and things like that, I wish there were more platforms like Ravelry for other crafts. And honestly, I am like really, really wanting a sewing version of Ravelry where there is a whole database that you can just find sewing patterns by real designers. I'll put a link to Ravelry in the comments below for you to actually check it out if you haven't yet. But it's just a platform that you need to be on, especially in the age of Etsy AI Slop, where everyone is looking at it and they're like, ugh. So if you feel that way, definitely join Ravelry. It's a lot cleaner over there. I think that's it. That is my soapbox for the day. So I hope you enjoyed. And if you did and you want to learn more about selling your crochet patterns online, make sure to subscribe to my channel here because that is what I'm going to be talking about. But I think that is it. So again, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let me know also your experience with Ravelry in the comments below, because I would love to hear more people's experience with selling on Ravelry, especially because I think it's a great platform and it's a great option. So yeah, I want to hear your experiences as well. All right. This is my Midwestern goodbye. Bye guys.